Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today we're going to work on a Shimano Saragossa. It's a very big reel. It's the 18,000F. And this reel is a offshore troll spinning reel. It can be used for tuna fish and others. It's got a lot of capacity to it. It was sent in by Anthony, and Anthony tells me that it's kind of got a storied history to it. It bogs down under load, and he gave me a test to do. And he said that this reel has been to Shimano for service, that they've replaced gears and bearings and the like, and it's still having that issue. Well, I don't know if I can do much better than the folks over at Shimano, but I will take this apart and we'll give it a fresh set of eyes here to see what we can do, and maybe we can identify a potential cause. So we're going to start by removing the exterior pieces, and while I do that, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel. My channel is dedicated to teaching you how to do reel service and repair, as well as to show you how the reels are made and maybe provide a little bit of education in terms of the reel manufacturers, who they are, what they do, what their histories are, and maybe running commentary on the actual reels themselves. So if you like that kind of thing, please subscribe. If you do subscribe, please use that notification button. That'll let you know when I'm posting. And, well, you can see if that's something that you would like to watch. So I'm going to try and remove this here just for fun. This is the two spool shims and the click ratchet that lets you know that the reel is running in reverse. All right, we're going to remove the handle by turning it opposite of the crank. So in this case, the crank goes in a counterclockwise manner, so this one goes in a clockwise to remove it. It is a handle that unscrews. When I take my pieces and parts off, well, the smaller pieces anyway go in a parts tray. Those are so I don't lose them, and I also know where they are when it is time to reinstall. I don't really need a parts tray for that big handle there. I don't need a parts tray for the spool, but these other things like these small screws and that benefit from kind of putting it out there. All right, I'm going to take the screws off the side plate so that we can gain access to it. When I do that, I want to make sure that I lay them on my desk and I make sure that they're all the same size. And they're not. So I just identified that a short screw goes there, a longer screw goes on the left. And Shimano is kind of famous for this, so you want to pay attention when you're taking them out. Okay, that's another short screw. And, well, if they're consistent, I'll have a longer screw on this side. And I do. So the two long screws go into the silver side. The two shorter screws go onto the gray side. All right, that should enable me to remove the side plate. It looks like the side plate comes off this side. You want to be careful with these. I think we have to take the rotor off to do that. So it was a good thing that I did pull that. What we'll do now is we'll remove those two screws that are holding the clamp for the rotor nut. And again, I'll find another corner of my parts tray to house this sub-assembly. I like to use the corners of my parts tray to organize my pieces and parts, and I do that by sub-assemblies to make it a little bit easier all around. All right. Looks like we've got a pretty big ratchet here. You might be able to get this one with an open end. All right, I've got a socket here. One of the things I can do, I think, is if I bring that down, there you go. Bring that down, load the socket, get my driver, and just check. Okay, I'm going to switch over. The driver doesn't seem to be the right answer. I'm going to go with a 15mm open-end wrench, and as I might have suspected, this is a reverse threaded rotor nut. Put that in my tray, pull the rotor off, and now I probably will see something that's holding me up here. There is that rubber band that is the tension, the case tensioner. And let's see if anything is It always makes you think that you're missing something. And let's try to grab that rubber band out of here. This is an anti-vibration one. I probably shouldn't be using a utility knife here if you're slicing it. There we go. This one gets tucked behind the trip ramp. That's your trip ramp there. And just remember that when it's time to reinstall. Okay, so that's off. And just continuing to look, it comes all the way up here, so it may be that this clutch is doing that as well. Kind of interesting set here. I guess I can look at the schematic. Anthony did include that in the box. Probably a good idea to look at the schematic, find out what might be hiding somewhere. This is an old school anti-reverse clutch. Whatever you do, don't take those two screws out, the black colored screws, only remove the silver colored ones. That's what's holding the anti-reverse assembly on. Okay, well that should come out now. Should break down there. There we go, starting to come apart. All right, well, sometimes you just need a little patience. There we go. So this is the inner workings of the Saragossa. It does have a setup very similar to a Stratic. And, well, it's got a worm drive gear. That worm drive gear has a pawl. Very much like a level wind system. It's going to turn, we'll show it to you here. It's going to turn, move the carrier up and down, and that carrier going up and down is what will cause the shaft to go up and down. All right, I'm going to remove those pieces that we just took off here. I'll take the two screws out. And really what I'm doing right now is a visual inspection, because it's hard to see or speculate on what could be bogging the reel down if you don't do something like this. Those two screws are going to go off to the side. This is your this is your crosswind block. Let's pull that main gear. It said that they had replaced the main gear. It looks that way. Everything seems appropriately lubricated. Just going to turn this and see what's going on. It doesn't appear that there's anything in here that's at issue. Clean out the place below that. I'm just not seeing it. So my only thought would be that it's possible that they replaced the main gear and didn't put the right number of shims in. So we'll try that. Sometimes it's just a matter of figuring out what could or could not be going wrong. But everything's been replaced. All the gears have been replaced. The bearings have been replaced. I'm not finding any play at all in the spool or that. So, kind of hard to say. All right, well, I'm going to re-grease the pinion gear. Reinstall this, get some of these parts off the table here. Bring that in. And since we know that this is not part of the side plate, we can go put this back on. When you go to put your anti-reverse clutch back on, look underneath. There is a cavity there that's going to be for the anti-reverse override. That's this piece here. So line those up, bring those in, and make sure that they get seated. Once you do that, get the 4 long screws that you removed. They go in a diamond pattern. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, if you have any questions on this reel, I have questions on it. I don't know what's causing the bog down, but if you have any questions on this reel, leave them in the comments section, and we'll try and answer them for you. And maybe you have a question on a reel that you're working on, you can leave that in this section as well. All the comments come to me via YouTube. I see them all, regardless of what video you're posting that question on, and I try to answer those in the morning. So if you do that, that's your best way to get a response. I know some folks wind up in a crisis du jour and trying to work their way out of it and give me a call, and well, sometimes that's easier to do than others. Okay, I see a little bit of wear on the main gear here. And I think if I was a guessing man, I would say that this is a possible cause for it. I always tell you to check the teeth on the main gear. And there's a rub on this main gear. Anthony did mention that he thought that something might be out of alignment, and I think he might be right. I'm going to just pull the old creases through. You can see there's a couple of spots here that are shiny. Let's do a little bit more inspection here. So you want to check the points on the teeth this way. They seem to be holding. But then as I look inside here, there does appear to be a little bit of scarring. Not a lot, and I'm not sure that it's all that well, but these seem to have a little bit of a wrinkle to them. This one looks like it's flattened out a little bit. But again, that shouldn't cause the reel to go terribly off kilter. Just curious on the number of shims. We have two shim washers on the outside of the main gear. Alright, I'm going to stop the video for a minute. I'm going to grab the schematic and see if there's anything else that might be telling in there. Okay, well, I'm going to re-grease. I'm going to mention to Anthony that does seem to be a flattening. He's not making this up. There is something that is an alignment issue. The only thing that this intersects with is the pinion gear. So we want to just put this back together. We'll try a couple of different things. Let's put the pinion gear back in. At this point we can take that axle shaft and put that back in. Bring that down. Now let's make sure to put the two screws back in that. Want to align those screw holes with the screw holes in the crosswind block and the axle shaft. We can put this back together. So wear on that typically is because it'll play like this. You can see how it moves here. And the play would be from the possibility of movement in the case. Put that case back in. And now we want to test to see if we have movement here. We don't. The pinion gear is tight. And I guess, oh, this is tight too. So I'm at a little bit of a loss. I'm thinking that it's possible. Kind of hard to see. Let's put this back in. Get it started. And then see if this side-to-side play really isn't. I think there's a little bit of movement in and out. So I think where I'm at with this is I'm going to get one more shim washer. I'm going to put that in, and it may or may not solve the issue. That you shouldn't have the side-to-side play in a case when the reel is functioning. And that's why they make the shim washers. That's why sometimes you'll find the shim washer will have, or a main gear rather, it'll have 3 or 4 shim washers, and another one will have 1 or 2. I think we're just going to put one more in here. Oh, I guess I got to stop the video. I thought that one laying on my desk might have been the right one. I'll be right back with a shim washer. Okay, while searching for a shim washer, I removed the original ones, and this one was bent behind it, almost in a half moon. Well, that's enough to cock the main gear, just enough that it could be an issue. So let's straighten that out, put it on the right way. And let's try this case one more time. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'll just grab this. I'm holding it. I don't need to put the screws in at this point. Yeah, we're tight now. There's no movement in that main gear. So I added a shim washer and I straightened out the other one. We'll see how it performs when we put the screws in and reassemble the reel. It may very well be that we need to remove one now that we've straightened out the one that is folded over. But, well, you never know. That's kind of the fun of the problem diagnosis behind a reel. Well, you've got a nice inside look into the Saragossa. You understand why people like it as much as they do. And again, it's kind of a big boy Stratic, if you will. It's got the same type of a oscillation system and design. It's well made. The materials certainly are good. And well, sometimes things don't align properly. Sometimes things get out of whack. It looks like maybe when they reinstalled this, they folded over or something, and that would cause it to be an issue. A little bit of a wobble. Don't know. You never know until you put it all back together and give it a try. Well, if you're enjoying this, again, I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel. If you do subscribe to the channel, again, please use that notification button. That will help you see what I'm posting, when I'm posting. And, well, today we're working on a very big saltwater spinning reel. Tomorrow might be an ultralight baitcaster. Never know. That's what some of the fun is of doing reel repairs, that you leave room to be surprised, and sometimes you get surprised. I've worked on vintage reels and modern reels and everything in between. All right, we want to tuck this behind that trip. You need to be careful. It's a rubber band. It will snap if you get too cute with it. There we go. All right, we're in that groove. Very good. All right, next up then is the rotor. All right, one of the things I'm noticing already is that extra shim washer that I added. This is a little tight now, so that's probably a little too tight. So either the one that was ripped up needs to go, or the one that I added needs to go. But there is no side-to-side play. I'm wondering if it's going to make that much of a difference. All right, I'm going to shut it off. I'll go back, remove that other piece, and come back out, test again. Okay, so what I did was I went back, removed the extra shim. It still has the right tension on the handle for side-to-side movement. It freed it up a little bit, actually. I reinstalled the spool and the handle, and we can give it a run. It turns nice and smooth. So it could just be a matter that that doubling up on the one side of that shim washer just caused the main gear to tilt a little bit, and that little bit caused a rub opposite the side that that washer was doubled up on. I don't know, pure speculation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to return this to Anthony. I'm going to let him take it fishing, and well, we're going to call this one probably best shot. I mean, there's nothing else inside this reel that is an adjuster that would enable you to go out of skew. He had speculated that maybe a bearing was loose, but we've tested all of those. That's not the case. And well, sometimes we learn from just trying to figure it out and do some problem diagnosis on it. I hope this was educational to you. You got to see how the Saragossa is set up, a little bit of a look inside the reel, and an understanding of the problem and what the potential cause of that problem is. So, well, that's the best we can do for now. So this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, thanking our first responders, our police, fire, safety, rescue, and the like for all they do. And, well, wishing everybody a great day. And hopefully you've enjoyed it. And if you did enjoy it, please like the video. And please subscribe. Have a great day.